morning and welcome to the latest edition. This is the beginning of, the end of this November, about the 24th. Hi, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm here to do another podcast. My name's Ian, and I'm doing another podcast in relation to my autobiography, which I released earlier this year, Living with Mitochondria Against All Odds. At the minute, I went cycling on Tuesday, even though it was a bit cold and, it was a bit drier than last week, but, and also what I was going to tell you talk about today was how I first got into wheelchair skiing. As you know from the book, and as you probably know from other podcasts, is I'm one lazy person, meaning I can't walk. Well, I like to kind of think of it being lazy because, it just makes it more humorous, more sense of humour. There's no point getting depressed about what you can't do.
Message received
just what
from mobile. Thanks, Ian.
What you can do. My phone just started talking away there, and my friend just ran out with it. So she's quite amused, my colleague there. But anyway, I was saying how I got to start going skiing. I'd just come back from a paragliding week. And again you think, wow, how's he gone wheelchair paragliding? Well, we did. But anyway, I'll tell you about that in another episode. But no, I just come back from that and I texted one of the instructors and says, is there any way of doing wheelchair skiing? So this guy texted me back and says, yeah. And he let me know the guy that kind of is the main person in charge of DSUK, and then I got into wheelchair skiing. I went a couple of times to Castleford, where the guy mainly bucketed me down. Where bucketing is where they stand behind the ski and just ski, and you've got to lean in the turns and things. And then when I started going, I went to Castleford a couple of times, and then I went to the place in Manchester. I can't remember the name of the place. The Chill Factor, that's it. The Chill Factor in Manchester, and there I learned how to ski with riggers, or fixed rigger to start with, and then I got chatting to the guy about going on holiday. So then he had some friends that ran a company called Red Point in and they ran holidays in a village called Fugen in Austria. So me and one of my PAs, we went skiing in Austria for the week, and at the start of the week I was on a fixed rigger, which was like a bracket that attached to the bottom of the ski, and by the end of the week I was on adjustable riggers, which to look at, they're like crutches where the handles are, but then at the bottom they're skis that go in the ground, and it was but really it also, because I can't see like how steep the slope is or where I've got to go, I've got a guy, the ski instructor, stood behind me holding onto a rope, what they call a tether, and they would tell me like 2 and 10 o'clock or 3 and 9 o'clock so you know how far to turn before you're turning back. And yeah, that was great. But also, when the first time I went to Austria, we stayed in this dead posh hotel, and you know, the Europeans are a bit more expressive, a bit more freer than the English, aren't they? So when it came, because this hotel, after the first couple of nights, we found out that it had a swimming pool, and it had a sauna and a jacuzzi and things like that. And me and my PA, we went swimming, and then we went to go and use the sauna, there was an attendant, this guy, and he kind of turned around to me and my colleague and said, "Take your costumes off, them the rules." And we were like a little bit kind of taken aback, and I thought, wow. And then of course you had your towel, you know, which you could put round you, but I was in one of these saunas one night, and if you know visually impaired people or anyone else that's visually impaired like I am, if I'm looking, it's a bit obvious that I'm looking. So to be polite, I was just kind of not looking. And I remember the one, me and my friend, we were in this sauna, and it was getting a bit warm. We keep putting, because there was an event on at the hotel that weekend, so it was a bit busier, and there was a few people in this sauna. Maybe it's with the towels around certain areas, but maybe it's not. I'm not sure. I couldn't see, and like I say, I didn't want to make it obvious that I was trying to look, because if you think I'm looking, you know about it. And then my colleague says, "I'll go and get your wheelchair," and he'd gone out of the sauna, and I was just sat there, and these girls went, "Is it a bit too warm for you?" And I, yeah, that's why we're moving out of here, yeah. But obviously it was, yeah. And I remember being in another one, and there was this guy stood there waving his towel around to circulate the heat, to make it even warmer than it was. And and then a couple of days into because as I say, it was a really posh hotel, poshest one I've stayed in, or one of the poshest. And we got in a couple of days in, and we realised that you could get afternoon tea. And so for the next couple of days we had afternoon tea. But yeah, as I say, at the beginning of the week I was on a thing called a fixed rigger, and at the end of the week I was on adjustable riggers, and I mastered the art of scratching my nose as well. That might sound a bit daft, but when you kind of stood up with or leaning on these poles and your nose is itchy, there's nothing else you can do. But yeah, no, it was a great experience, and I've been many more times since. Maybe on the next edition I'll tell you about the what got me into the skiing, which was the paragliding. But yeah, like I said, the next edition. Unfortunately, that's it for today, and I'll see you again very soon. Goodbye. I'll do, won't it?